doesn't really matter who you are, what job you're doing, or if you're a student, you will still have tasks that you need to manage and get done. I've recently been looking over some productivity apps to help me with my task management as a postgraduate student. Trello and Notion both came up, so I thought I'd do a comparison. Hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to stay part of the conversation. What I've done is basically created the same project with the same tasks and just looking at how it all works. You can see in Trello they set up a Kanban board view, so you've got script, record, edit, and etc. with all the different tasks inside it. Makes things easy to move things around, and adding in a task isn't that difficult because I can just click the plus button at the bottom of any of the tiles. When you go into the task, it brings up another window. You've got the cover photo at the top, and then you've got the due date option, which is kind of pretty important when you're trying to get tasks done, and you can see over in the left of the screen that it has changed. You've got all your labels, so if you want to add a tag in there, you can do, and you can add pretty much as many as you want. You can write out what the task is in the description box and write out what you need to do. Or what you could do is link it to another board or another file that you've got, but that means you do start bouncing around a little bit. If you've got some obvious checkpoints or things you want to get done, you can just add a checklist at the bottom, which gives you a nice percentage bar going across, and then you can write anything that you need at the bottom. Personally, as I work by myself at the moment, I don't really need that to talk to anyone else, so it's more of like a personal notes thing, but I just put that in the description. The same thing really applies to members. I work by myself, so I don't really need to include anyone else, but the option is there. And then everything else is down the sidebar, but personally I'd probably just use the Kanban board view, the description, the labels, and then the due date. As you can see, you need to add all of that separate stuff in, but it's not difficult because all the options are on the side. And every task you add in comes up with this same pop-up window. You can have multiple boards. I have completely wiped out this account, so I've just made another board for the reference, and then have the board that I'm currently in. Now we're in Notion, and as you can see, I use Notion a little bit more, and it is currently the app that I choose to use. But what I've done is set up the exact same thing in Notion as I did in Trello. So I've got the same sections, I've got the same tasks, and I've got the same data in each task. I've got the tags in there, I've got the due dates in there. You can still drag and drop everything across. You can still add new tasks in at the bottom. And each individual task is its own window. But in Notion, the task isn't just the task is its own page. So you can have templates in the page, which means when you go into the task, you can basically make it its own thing. So we're going to make it a little bit bigger. And in Trello, you had that small description box, which was great for use. But if you want to have more things in there, more information, more links, because in Notion it is its own page, you can add pretty much whatever you want there. You can assign members, change the date, and then you can add in all of the other properties that Notion offers. Because it is still linked to the original database, you can still change all the properties in the page. I'm going to be a little bit biased here, but the main thing that I like about Notion over Trello is the amount of views that you get. Because I like seeing all my tasks and due dates in a calendar view, and I can actually combine this calendar view with my journal, it just helps me visualize when I need to get things done. Notion does also allow me to add 2 dates in, so instead of just having a due date, as in DUE date, you can have a due date, so when you're actually going to action that task. So if I change the calendar view, I can see I need to do all of these tasks today, but they're not due until different parts of the week or next week. And just as a couple of examples, if you're not familiar with Notion, you can add in tables, add in boards, checklists, embed videos, embed Google Maps, you name it, you can pretty much do it. Some things can be long-winded, and obviously there are limitations, but the majority of simple basic tasks that you need to get done, project management, task management, most of it is doable. So you can imagine a little bit of inception going on when you've got a Kanban inside a Kanban inside a Kanban which has got a calendar. So you can imagine you can have loads of different databases inside a page that's inside one database. That's just the power of Notion. And you can add in any of the many blocks that they have to meet your needs. A slight limitation in the Kanban board view in Notion though, is if your Kanban is quite large, you will have to scroll quite a lot. And unlike Trello, because the columns aren't separated, if one column is really long, you have to scroll the whole thing up and down. But then you could just use the filters to find the information you wanted anyway. Don't forget to watch this video for more productivity tips, tricks and tools. I'll see you there.